Everything You Know Is Wrong is brought to you by UReach. Want to volunteer internationally? Take the trip of a lifetime. Eat the world's best tacos in Baja, California, Mexico. Learn to surf in Nicaragua, Central America. Pet a lion in Zambia, Africa. All while doing something amazing to change the world. Housing, water, education. UReach.global is your portal to reach farther than you ever imagined. Student Reach. Coaching for students, resources for parents, student presentations that really change things, trips for students, and more. StudentReach.org is where reaching your potential begins. You can support the show at everythingyouknowiswrong.show/support or patreon.com/everythingyouknowiswrong. Show notes, video, and more at everythingyouknowiswrong.show. Let's do this.
Everything you know is wrong.
You're wrong, and you're a grotesquely ugly freak.
It's important to remember one thing. You're wrong.
You are dead wrong.
You're wrong.
Ooh, you smell that? It smells like someone's wrong.
Todo lo que sabes está mal. Everything you know is wrong. Everything you know is wrong.
Woohoo! All right, welcome to Everything You Know Is Wrong.
Where is the blind leading the blind?
Question everything. We're
Everything.
talking about mysteries and misconceptions. Today we're talking with Dr. John Jackson of William Jessup University about really misconceptions about higher education and where we're going.
This is a great. You guys are gonna love this. We're not holding back. It's not. I mean, we're asking questions that people are thinking about. I mean.
Yeah.
2 or 3 of them are just profound, and I loved his answers. I loved the discussion being had. You guys are going to love this. It's we really go after it. I've actually known Dr. Jackson for well over a decade and a half or so. Love him. Been able to watch his journey along the way as a young man growing up, and we actually worked together for a couple different organizations. I mean, all 3 of his daughters I've worked with at some point in time at different organizations. His boys throughout different, working with students and camps and all that kind of jazz. So I'm obviously a big fan, but it's a real treat. It's a real treat. You're gonna see.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. My history with Dr. Jackson is mostly this podcast, and we had lunch once. So
But you guys got to connect a lot. Yeah, I know. I thought this was a great opportunity for just for even as an organization, as even just partnering down the road too with some things. So.
Hey, that's a real snazzy jacket you're wearing there, Rob.
Yeah, listen, this jacket, this is moving on up. Maturity, I'm growing up. I went to REI looking for a jacket, kind of a new brand I've been interested in. I'm looking at this jacket. I got my dividend. If you don't know what a dividend is, it's from REI, the store, and you pay a one-time membership fee, and then anything you buy that's not on sale, you get a percentage of. I don't work for them, by the way. I'm just telling you how it goes.
This
okay?
is not sponsored by REI.
But it could be.
Unless it is by the time you...
Hopefully it is. So there'll just be a little thing that'll come up. We'll just go ding, and we'll just re-record. And about right here, it'll say, we are actually sponsored by REI now. So let's just keep that and cut that, and then we'll just insert that back in.
So if you're watching this on video and you see a little title
that
says correction, then that would be sweet. So you get...
I'm in there. I'm trying it on. It's nice. It's expensive, but I have a dividend. It's going to take some money off. I got 20% off coupon. It's going to take some money off. I'm looking at it. I put it on. It's just like this jacket that I already owned. I own this jacket, and I thought, I don't need another jacket that is just like this. So I left, and I almost left there empty-handed. Take that, REI. I'm not even going to give you the free money you gave me.
Robin, our little boy is growing up.
But instead, I did see a clearance sign. It drew me in, tractor beam, went right in, cold turkey, and it was a flashlight, clearanced out. This thing had 50 or 500 lumens or something, man.
Have you seen those commercials about, like, they can't stop you from becoming your parents?
Oh, man, they're so good. What are they? What's that for? It's for some insurance or something?
It must be, because it must not be a very good advertisement, because we only remember the hook.
How many advertisements are like that? Exactly. You don't even remember what it's for. You just remember how funny it was.
Okay, so I have a funny jacket story, too. We recently went to Zambia. It's actually really super cool. Our friend there... we got like 800 kids in school and health clinics and all that kind of stuff. But it was really hot there. But before we're going, young Peter, our newest staff member here at the Reach complex, I was telling him, maybe a little like trying to show off my gravitas as a traveler.
Oh, you got to show him your ways.
There's a whole new thing about
He's a young Padawan.
Yeah, that's right. And so even though he lived in China.
Yeah.
So, like he's whatever.
He's an older Padawan.
So exactly. So I said to him, if you don't have a good sweatshirt, you should get a good sweatshirt. And I actually have a whole list. We're posting soon probably by the time you watch this, a travel skills video for these trips. And if you want to find out more about our trips, go to ureach.global.
Yeah.
But so I said, hey, do you have a good sweatshirt? You need a good sweatshirt. And I was telling him, you got to have a zip up hoodie. It doesn't matter if it's the dead of summer. It doesn't matter because you can have another jacket you can layer in a pinch. I've been stuck in airports forever.
Hey, layovers.
It's a pillow, right? You put it on top of your backpack, and it makes a soft part for the pillow. You can wear it backwards and cover your face like a face mask. If it's really cold on a plane, it can become a jacket. And I actually, halfway through the trip when we were in Africa, didn't need them at all, right? So
it's hot, humid.
But then we got to Belgium where we stayed a couple nights on the way back.
Ooh la la.
Not just Peter and I, it wasn't a romantic.
No, it was the whole crew.
No, it was my wife and Robin and Peter and I. And so we, I got out my black hoodie that I had found along the way. I'd lost it briefly.
Rightfully so. It's probably freezing in
I found it
Belgium.
in the car. And so, I put it on and I said to Peter, he spilled this goo on his other sweatshirt. And I said, why are you still wearing that? Why don't you wear another sweatshirt? And he said, oh, and I go, didn't you bring another sweatshirt? And he pointed at me and said, yeah, I think that one's mine. And I was like,
did you steal his sweatshirt?
no, right? I was like, whatever.
He did.
I was like, stupid Peter. I was like, and so finally though, I thought, I'm going to be nice. And I had brought another sweatshirt because I'm a good traveler. I brought it back up, obviously. I'm not like some sort of newbie. So I gave Peter my sweatshirt. Yeah, that's the kind of guy I am. Gave Peter my sweatshirt. And when I got home, I walked into my bedroom, and my black sweatshirt was there the entire time.
You left it home?
I had given Peter, out of the kindness of my heart, back his own sweater, which he graciously accepted and actually thanked me for instead of saying, you dirty, rotten thief.
Did it smell funny? Oh, my goodness.
It did smell a little funny like Peter. I just thought it was
This poor guy was like Mother Teresa out there.
You want to know
a real modern Mother Teresa, just like, go ahead.
So
he took the scripture literally, Don't just give him the jacket off your back, too.
You want to know, Peter actually, he doesn't smell funny, but he does have a smell. You know what Peter's smell is? Recently showered. Peter is in the room right now behind the camera.
Oh, you smell it.
Can you smell?
I was thinking Irish Spring. Irish Spring?
That's Peter's sin. I think Peter might shower like 7 times a day or something. It's the only thing I can really figure out. So
your Enya music. Who can say? I forget how the words go, but
yeah, isn't that Enya?
Enya.
Yeah, something like that.
I love Enya when I'm taking a bath.
So we have gone far afield. Dr. John Jackson.
Dr. J is in the house. We're talking all things education, universities. We hold nothing back. You're gonna love it. Let's jump in right now.
Dr. John.
Dr. J.
All right, so we are here today with
man.
Dr. John Jackson.
The man, the myth, the legend.
That's right, who is the president of William Jessup University. And really, you took this thing by the horns while it was on rails up, not only up in attendance, but people coming, things happening, total transformation, debt going up, expenses, all those kinds of things. So, hey, thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, so glad to be here. Love you guys' heartbeat and love the reality. Jessup, by the way, had this amazing foundation, but I came at an inflection point. And a lot of ministries and organizations are like that, where, great foundation, but they're kind of stuck a little bit. And I had an amazing predecessor, Bryce Jessup, 26 years. He was the son of the founder, going back to 1939. He had total legend. But to be honest, the place was kind of plateaued. And so thanks be to God, we've kind of tripled the last 10 years. It's been amazing. But it wouldn't have happened if we didn't have that foundation and heritage.
And really, this is, I know because both my niece and my nephew, and I'm talking to my 16-year-old daughter, but my niece and my nephew both graduated from here. So, and then, we know a lot of the same people, but really, you're kind of at the edge of innovation. I mean, You're almost more successful in non-traditional learning than traditional learning.
We are. In fact, I would say this. I know we'll probably talk about the overall field, but I just say this. When I first came to Jessup, everybody thought, I'm going to use University of Phoenix, thought that I was going to destroy all the traditional and just do non-traditional because I was so committed that education was changing and the way people were learning was changing. But I was committed to traditional enough to where we built a $13 million dorm. We do want traditional students, 18 to 24, half of them living on campus. But where education's going is definitely on the non-traditional side. The online, the graduate, the just-in-time learning, those are huge arenas.
Yeah, Robbie, we were talking before, and we were talking about this exact thing, where things going.
You know, it's like no one knows anything.
Yeah.
We're all speculating. We
Totally.
there's information
Yeah.
and there's things we can learn, sharpen our pencil. There are some real facts out there, but like I'm looking at myself, right? Like I went back to college later.
Yeah.
And so I came into almost, where these young people were. I was there as an almost 30-year-old.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty close to that now. So
Yeah, my experience is the opposite. I went to 8 semesters of college and got out mostly for financial reasons.
At Bethany.
I went to a university, private university, similar to this one in a lot of ways. Although a long time ago, so before non-traditional learning, but because of money, I was like taking every unit I could take in that package, and then nothing,
And then right.
working all summer, to pay for it the next. So I'm like the ultimate traditional student, and then Robbie's non-traditional.
Well, let me just say something about the world we live in. I was in a meeting yesterday, 50 largest businesses in Sacramento, and a person stood up in front. We were talking about innovation. Person said at his XYZ agency, we have a 20-year plan. And he said, we just threw it away.
Yeah.
Because who the heck knows
Right.
what's happening a year from now, let alone 20 years. So you're right, we kind of don't know. And I would say this, the non-traditional learning and the traditional learning, we got to figure out how to not to make it about content, but make it about change and make it about innovation and make it about capacity. If education doesn't increase your capacity to learn, to grow, and to grab hold of an uncertain future, then I'm not sure what good it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it seems like there's a lot of people pointing out now, as when I was growing up, it was a few people went to college, right?
Yes.
Like it was like the sort of elite people are going to have white collar jobs, and then it became everybody's going to go to college.
Right.
Robbie and I do coaching programs with highly at-risk students who some of them have never been out of their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Generally speaking in their life, and if I go to those students who have no support, no plan, no nothing, I say, what are you going to do after you graduate? They say, go to college. And I say, where? They can't even answer that
That's
question.
right. That's right.
So the message has gotten out for everybody to go to college, but
So I'm a little bit of a history nerd, so I'll just say a couple things. Post-Second World War, the number of people who graduated from high school as a percentage of the population is about what it is now of people who graduate from college.
wow.
In other words, we've made
Wow.
college so normative, it's like high school was in the 40s or 50s.
So I'm not going to say my age, but I'm of the age.
Dude, you look old.
I know. I'm of the age
look great.
where when I was younger, it was even almost a fear of like, oh
Yeah.
no, am I going to go to college? Am I
Yeah.
going to make it to college? Am I going to have good enough grades? Am
Yeah.
I going to get in?
Right,
Because
right.
that's what you have to do
Right.
if you want to even live and be successful in this world. So where then all of a sudden, when I made some choices that I didn't go to college right away because I couldn't, and then I ended up going to a Bible college that was non-accredited,
Yeah.
and because turmoil, I got a huge car accident,
Yep.
flown into ministry, I surrendered my life to God. Like all these things happened at one time. I'm now in a Bible college, unaccredited, but I'm looking around, I'm like, things are changing. Google, information, it's all at the fingertips, and then you're looking at people now who are almost like, it shifted almost of like, I'm not going to college. It's a waste of money.
So
You
let
know
me
what
say
I mean?
this about millennials. Millennial generation, which is roughly speaking, let's say 18 or 20 all the way up to about 40. Millennial generation, number one concern in their life is financial stability. Number one contributor to financial instability is student debt. $1.6 trillion of student debt in our country. And I would just say this, the cost, the value, and the debt of college is causing people to rethink it. I honestly, this is going to be weird for a four-year college president. I think we need a revolution of what used to be called vocational education. So the trades, like right now, if you can swing,
Yes.
if you can swing a hammer, if you're an electrician, if you're a plumber, if you're a drywaller, dude, you will have amazing job prospects. And then second of all, there's a tech revolution. You have 9 months of computer programming. You can get a job making way more than a first-year teacher. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to formal education. I'm totally for it. But I think we need a revolution in our world where people can go down those vocational pathways and not think of it as second or third best. It's not second or third best.
Dude, sir.
Doctor.
Dude, sir.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Dude, sir, doctor, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love, this is like, he doesn't even know, but he's kind of like an
We're
extended
good.
father.
We're
to
good.
me.
Hey, oh, I love that. I'll
You
take
know, and
that.
his family very close to me.
I'll take
and
that.
so,
Yeah.
anyhow, it's literally what I've been thinking and seeing is this idea of like, I mean, back in the day, your name was John blacksmith.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
because
yes.
you were a
for sure
blacksmith. I mean,
That's
it was,
right, yeah.
now other people are not going to do that now, but the idea of like, oh, like those things are going away. Well, now it's almost splitting the group where it's like you either better have a technological mindset and
Yes.
understand, have a role in technology in the
Yep.
future of it,
Yep.
which a lot of people don't.
Right.
I'm hanging on by a thread.
Yes.
But that's because of my charisma and I'm finding
Yeah.
my place in the sales realm of that.
Yes, that's right.
But that's not because I understand the tech and the development. I don't.
Yep.
But then the flip side is you're going to go hone in on something like my wife, for instance, which I'm so happy to hear you guys are opening a nursing
A
program.
school of nursing, yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
that is the part of the answer.
Yes.
It's like you're not going to just go online and Google
Yeah.
nursing and become a nurse.
right.
You know, you can't. You're going to need a trade, and things are going to open up. What about you, Dr. Jackson? What do you see anything else aside from nursing opening up here that's going to be more trade oriented
Yeah.
than maybe?
So let me tell you one of the visions that I have, and this will panic people. This is not in
I'm
front of our
excited.
board yet, so I just want to say this.
This is what I was hoping for.
I see a day where William Jessup University will have what we'll call Bible and liberal arts that will prepare you for professions. So nursing, teacher, you want to be a counselor, a therapist, you want to become an architect, engineer. Those things, a lawyer. Those things require bachelor's degree and then a lot of times master's degree. But there's two other areas that I see. We're in a world where if people get a certificate that leads to a credential that's stackable to a degree over the course of their life, they're going to have these oscillating patterns. I go do drywall for a couple of years and I go like, I love drywall. I love construction, but I want to figure out a little bit about management. So how can I get a certificate in project management? So what we're going to do is I think we're going to see a future where Jessup has a variety of certificates that eventually will be like a Voc Tech school. It'll be right here at Jessup. It won't necessarily even use this campus. It will use maybe distributed out in the community. This is my one thing. Future of higher ed is FDA, not Food and Drug Administration. It's flexible, it's distributed, and it's affordable. If we
Yes.
don't make education affordable, Voc, Tech, and classic education, we're sunk.
So, but we were talking about the other problem, and I looked it up before I came. So Forbes says that since 1986, between 1986 and 2018, the cost of a four-year college education has gone up 497%, way outstripping
I say,
inflation.
I compare that to CPI. It's insane. We complain about medical. I do have a chart on this. People complain about medical bills. Oh, medical bills are so bad. Medical bills are above inflation.
Yeah.
College is unhinged from inflation. It's that 400% compared to like maybe 70% inflation over those years. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
insane.
I mean, like, in some ways you're in charge. It's not cheap to go
Yeah,
here.
that's right. It's not. And so I'll just say this, couple things. It's not cheap to go here. I'm frustrated at the cost all the time. We gave away about $16 million in scholarships last year. So the bottom line, this is how it works. Here's a dirty little trade secret that I want everybody to know. Here's how it works. The reality is this. Whatever sticker price you see in a private college, nobody pays that.
Right.
In fact, let me correct that. There are a few people who pay that. And the only people who pay that are the people who do not want to fill out the financial aid forms. So they'll just write a check. Because the financial
And they
aid,
can afford it.
Yeah, they can afford it, and the financial aid forms are intrusive. They kind of go like, hey, what's your income, what's your bank account, all that, and a lot of people go, forget it, and they write the check. Other than that, 93% of people who attend Jessup get some form of financial aid. So let's say the cost is $35,000. You know what the average person pays to come to Jessup?
No.
Some pay more, some pay less. The average is about $19,000.
Okay.
So we are aggressive in those scholarships. And by the way, let me say one other factor. Jessup, number one in the Western United States for what's called social mobility. You measure people's income level when they come into Jessup. They go through 4 years. Then you measure it 2 years afterwards. Number one in the Western United States. A lot of first-generation college students, a lot of students, persons of color, that sort of thing, coming to Jessup. Education transforms them. Boom, they get a good job. Literally changes their life economically.
Yeah.
That's great. And actually, it brings me up, and I'm so glad to be able to ask you about this because I recently heard about a study. You probably have heard about it too, but I found it just absolutely astounding. A couple of college professors, they surveyed 3,000 students, 29 campuses, and after looking at transcripts, surveys, and standardized tests, here's what they found. 45% of those students after 2 years of college showed no significant gains in learning. And they found that students were doing half as much work as just 3 decades ago in college. So while the price has gone up 500%, the learning has been cut in half. Maybe that's optimistic. Maybe and they were concerned in their study they're gonna follow those 2-year students out to 4-year students, and they were predicting that some percentage of students were going to graduate with no appreciable gain in knowledge or skills.
I'll give you a worse stat than that. That one's horrifying. Here's a worse stat than that. There was a study actually done prior to that study where they went to the Ivy League schools.
Oh, wow.
Now, you can't get into an Ivy League school unless you're a bright kid.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're going to Stanford, which is the most exclusive school in the country, 2% acceptance rate, 98% rejection, 2% accepted. Most, they call it selective, most selective school in the country. There's bright kids going into Stanford, but if you ask, what did they learn at Stanford? The reality is for many students, Stanford's amazing, but the truth is those kids were amazing when they came in the door.
Right.
Which is why Peter Thiel and a variety of others are actually paying some college students not to attend college. Because they go, you're already awesome, you're already amazing. Now I will say this, I think learning and change and transformation does happen. And the tragedy is if you go to a college and you really didn't get transformed, you really didn't learn and grow, shame on that college, maybe shame on you too, because you got opportunity in a lot of schools. And the thing I get bugged by is when professors give assignments where students just kind of satisfy, like I'm writing 5 pages of pablum, I'm not really thinking about this issue, and we're just kind of getting through college. That's a problem. When you're doing assignments just to get through, you're probably not learning anything. We ought to be challenged, we ought to grow. Let me just tell you one other controversial thing. I think the future of college is going to be way more like apprenticeship in the Middle Ages than it will be like the classroom with the sage on the stage that we've made the last 3 decades. I think what's most
Or in
effective.
some cases, those professors don't even teach.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's exactly
like
right.
the interns do.
Yes,
No.
the teaching assistants.
Teaching
and-
assistants, that's what I meant.
yeah,
My-
yeah,
sorry.
My
yeah.
wife has a friend who got her doctorate in nursing, essentially.
Yep.
And she went to Berkeley 6 years
Yep.
because you can't get enough
That's
classes.
right. That's right.
And only met 2 or 3 of her professors.
That's right.
In that
The
time.
in a UC, and again, we honor the UCs. They have, especially in research, they're amazing. Can't even touch them. But on the undergraduate level, at a place like Jessup, you have a professor who knows your name, who has a PhD in the first week, and that professor pours into your life. It's one of the value adds that we give. But the problem is a lot of those big schools that have amazing reputations, you're being taught by a TA, an intern, somebody who's just kind of you know still doing their graduate school. I think mentorship and pouring into the value add we hear is not in the classroom. You can actually go online and have amazing information transmitted to you. It's not information we do here. It's transformation that happens through mentoring and relationships. It's learning and community.
So this is like the 2 sides of the coin, right? Though, so you can say, okay, UC Berkeley is a school with a storied history,
Yeah,
and some
yeah.
of the smartest people in the world. You might not meet those
Yeah.
people. Man, if you come to Jessup, we have
Yeah.
questions about the test. You can
Yeah.
ask the professor. On the other hand, so
That's
this is a
right,
great
yeah.
argument, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I was at an event recently where you said if we don't hit 10,000 students,
Yeah.
we're in trouble.
Yeah. Here's the reality. We have Jessup, a school like Jessup, has to get big enough, but we're going to have to get big enough in all the modalities. We are going to have that traditional residential student, 18 to 24, half of them living on campus. We have to have enough graduate students, and by the way, we're not going to have 50 graduate degrees. There's going to be 5 to 7 where we say we're really great in these fields.
Yeah.
Third thing is we got to get the online. The online brings scalability. You look at Liberty, 80,000 students online.
Can I pause
yeah,
you right
play-
there?
Sure, sure.
And this is, and by the way, we'll
Yeah.
cut whatever we want.
Oh,
You know
whatever,
what I mean?
yeah.
But I like to flow it.
Yeah.
So, funny story. I was here at William Jessup. You guys have a program for the adult degree
Yep,
completion
yep.
program. I love it.
Yep.
It was pricey, but
Yep.
I love the idea and the community you talk about.
yeah.
And we were
The
all in
cohort,
places
yeah,
where
yeah.
we cohort because we couldn't. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't. I was a college pastor.
Yeah,
down the
yeah.
road. So you're off the hook because Dr. John Jackson had just gotten on staff here
Yeah.
at this time. I mean, and I know we were friends. We worked
Yeah.
together at a
Yeah.
mega church beforehand. He got here, and so like and I knew I was a kid, and also I knew him. He had just gotten here, but I knew Paul Blazine,
Yes.
who
yeah.
I love.
Wow.
Where's he at now?
Student life. He's in
He's LA.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota.
His grandkids are.
Close with him, had a direct class. We became buds, and then Gene DeYoung. And we can get rid of
Yeah.
all these names, you know what I mean? But I'm just
Yeah,
for
great
fun
people,
of it.
yeah.
He was the CFO. Is that the correct?
Yeah, CFO,
Okay,
yeah.
so find it right. And I'm close. I mean, with their kid. I mean, I'm at I'm at a mega church
Church, yeah.
doing my thing,
Yeah.
and I'm here. I love it. It's going to be, I don't know, expensive.
Yeah,
It's a high
yeah.
dollar.
Yeah, it is.
Liberty University comes out to a
Yep.
gig we're doing.
Yep.
We meet, they fall in love with me. Like, what do you do here? I'm like the college pastor.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, cool. Where'd you go to school? I'm like, I'm at William Jessup right now. I did things backwards in life, got a huge, went to jail, all these things, But
Yeah.
here I am. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, what did it take to get you over there at to Liberty
Liberty.
online? And I'm like, online?
Yeah.
Talk to me. you know. Cohort made it easy enough. I come 1 or 2 nights a week, and at night, and long, and I can make it.
You do that married and kids and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But here it's even like, dude,
Yeah.
I lock myself 1 day a week, knock it
Yeah.
all, because I can, and
Yes.
especially depending on the season of
Yeah.
life you're in, your brain capacity, it's like I can
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah.
And then they not only can I do it online, but they cut the price in half. They didn't do it on purpose. It was
Yeah.
just what,
No, it's
what
the way it works.
was.
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned it there, but obviously we know it takes time. But
Yeah.
I'm just going. It is the part of the wave of the future. Where are you guys at with that?
So we Jessup right now. So Robbie's absolutely right. We were at the place where we just did not have online. I don't think we had any online classes. So we spent about 4 years investing in online. So our current students living in apartments on campus could take 1 or 2 classes online. So we kind of cultivated it for our own internal students first. So we had 1,500 enrollments in online classes. Then we opened it up to now Jessup's going to offer online degrees. We have 14 online degrees right now. We have several hundred online students, about 600, I think, of our students are online. But if you look at Liberty, 80,000, Grand Canyon, 60,000, Southern New Hampshire, 70,000. These are all huge online schools. We don't have a vision for that, but I think we're going to have 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 of our students will be online because it is flexible, it is distributed, and it is affordable. It's about half the price. Now, it's not free, by the way. It's
No way,
not
no
free.
way, not at all.
But
It was not
it's
free.
about.
I'm still paying it right now.
But it's
I'm
about.
paying it off this week.
Yeah, but it's about. Praise God.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, actually, I got. You guys aren't gonna believe this. I got a text this week from a young guy. He was in my church in Nevada, and he came here to Jessup, and folks made arrangements. He ended up owing $30,000 when he left Jessup. Now Jessup is average 21,000. The national average is 35.
Okay.
So Jessup's about 1/3 less than the national average, not calories, but debt. And so this kid who's been out of Jessup for 3 years, he's a business guy, super entrepreneurial. He texts me this week, calls me Pastor John because I was his pastor. He says, Pastor John, you're not going to believe this. I just wrote the check. I've paid off all my student debt because God's prospering him in his business. He learned some great things, and he's 3 years out, 100% paid off, and he's so excited about that. He's
That's
free.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is free.
And this brings up an interesting thing because we talked about the learning thing before, and I had a professor when I went to college that was just such a smart guy, and he said to me along the way, he said, listen, we're not really here to put a bunch of knowledge in your head. And I said, well, that's interesting. My parents would wonder what I'm
That's
doing.
what your parents think you're there for, yeah.
By the way, as the first one of all my first and second cousins that went to college, but I said, okay, so what are we here for? And he said 2 things. He said to learn how to learn, and to learn where to find knowledge when you need it. You're not going to remember all this stuff. Yeah. And I thought that was so smart. And I recently had a young lady that came to work with us in our nonprofit, and I was excited because she went to Michigan State.
Yeah.
I heard somebody cynically saying the other day that people pick a college famous for its football team.
Yeah,
right.
right.
And so she went to Michigan State, and she had a focus in nonprofit leadership. And I said, hey, you're coming in? Are you ready to go? You got some ideas? She said, I have no ideas. I haven't learned anything about nonprofit leadership. But she's very, very, very smart.
She's bright, yeah.
She's a problem solver.
Yeah.
And it is really interesting to me because maybe people aren't learning specific things, but they're learning the skills to learn specific things.
So let me give you some thoughts on that. I love that distinction. So first of all, that we teach you how to learn and we teach you where to find stuff. Well, today, we have Google, we have other things. We can find information. So it's not content or information. Before, you had to look at books and go like, oh, what page was that on? And exactly. Well, even the Stanford Library, by the way, has been 100% digitized. You can find anything in the Stanford Library digitally.
Yeah.
So
something I want to pump in because
Yeah.
I missed it, but I want to bring up because it fits here, and you guys, William Jessup does this well. Is Damon Dunn? He was on the ticket with Meg Whitman as Secretary of State back in the or Treasurer, excuse me. And so he came and spoke when I was a college pastor at our church. He came and spoke for us, and he's like, I went to Stanford. He's a football player at Stanford. He said I had good grades, but they have football. He didn't say it like that, but he's like, there's
you got a lot
an
of help.
easier threshold
Yeah.
than if you were just going on education
Yeah.
alone.
Right.
He said it wasn't the education, although the education was good. It wasn't the this, that, and the other, although all those things were good.
Yep.
He goes, man, everybody there, the community.
Yeah.
You said something earlier.
right.
They all showed up good.
That's right. That's right.
He goes, it wasn't like, man, if I ever start this nonprofit and it does well, I hope to change the world. It was like, hey, once we get this nonprofit rolling, Talk to my dad here, and there's community, connections.
Yep.
There's there's more than just an education, and I love to hear that that's what you're honing in on, saying we have to adapt. You know, all these different things have to come into play. You're going to go online. You're going to bring the cost down. It can't just happen overnight.
Well, that's exactly right. And even online, you have to think, how do I create relationships so that people
Right.
can know how to do it? So let me just say this. Academia has a vested interest in keeping the gap between theory and application as a Grand Canyon. I actually think that's a deficiency. We need to make it. When you're a lawyer, by the way, and you go to law school, I have lots of friends who are lawyers. When you go to law school, you actually are not a really great lawyer. You understand the law when you graduate from law school. It's your summer internships and it's your first year or two of practice where you're under the supervision typically of a practicing attorney where you learn, oh, that's what being a lawyer is. That's why being a doctor, by the way, they don't let you be a doctor just when you graduate from med school.
No.
Right.
Then you have to have the internship, you have to have the residency, and that's where you actually learn how to practice. Kind of
Hey,
scary.
I've seen Grey's Anatomy. I get how it works.
Okay, you know how it works. You're an expert. But I got to give this one other thing about community.
Yeah,
I got to get
no,
you
I love
might
it.
you might cut this. You might cut this, but I think it's really good.
No, we're not going to cut it.
There was a farmer who enrolled.
actually edit.
Okay, there was a farmer who enrolled his donkey in the Kentucky Derby, and they said, "You're never going to win. You're never going to win." He said, "I know, but I'm hoping the association will do him some good."
Yeah.
So you want to be with thoroughbreds. You'll get that eventually. You
No,
want
I
to be with
got it.
thoroughbreds. It was a dad joke.
I
You
got
want to
it,
be with
man.
you want to be with thoroughbreds. When you go to Stanford, part of what you're getting is the atmosphere of Stanford.
Yeah, right.
My prayer at
Connections.
Jessup is that we create an atmosphere. We're a Christ-centered school, an atmosphere where people say, this is what it means to be sold out to Jesus. This is what it means to be a Christian who's committed to impacting culture. And then thirdly, that you develop some relationships. I would say to parents, if your kid will come to Jessup and get 3 or 4 friends that will stick with him for life and 1 or 2 professors that they'll just connect with and go like, oh, I love that lady. I love that guy. And they'll just impart to them, man, that's what it's all all about.
I agree.
Okay, I have a tough question for
Yep.
you. And listen,
These have been easy so far. So
I know. But you're somebody probably like Robbie here, super good at answering tough questions in interesting ways that sound. But I have a.
Where do you
real-
learn it from?
No,
Yeah.
I have a real tough one.
Okay.
So I have an 18-year-old son that's
Yep.
autistic.
Yep.
Okay, I looked it up. 2%
Oh, this is
of
good.
people being born are being born on the spectrum.
Yes.
He's got a friend of the family that just got fired from his job at McDonald's because they thought he was incompetent when
Yeah.
he's different
Right.
than
Yes.
other people, and they need some understanding. I look at the educational environment at any college, and there's nothing
Yep.
that will fit these students realistically. A few of them will struggle
Yes.
through, especially at the higher end of the spectrum.
That's right.
My son is not in the higher end of the
Yep.
spectrum. He's not institutionalized, but he's barely verbal.
Got it.
He learns things nonstop. I mean, what are we really going to do if 2% of our population are going to have a spectrum disorder? Are they just going to be locked out of the system?
So let me say a couple things. First of all, you're really smart to be thinking about the
Yeah,
2% impact, what that means for our culture, what that means for the faith, what that means for the economy, what that means for individual lives. How do we do this? Here at Jessup, I'll just say a couple things. Number one, we have had people who are higher on the spectrum. We never change the requirements in the classroom. However, what we do is provide massive learning support. We have lots of folks who are on the spectrum and they get assistance, reading, writing, the socialization kind of issues. We provide support so that they can fulfill the class requirements. But having said that, I think quite frankly for folks, I have a niece who has some struggles in her life. What she figured out with her mom, my sister, is that this is the area where she's passionate about. Here's where she has skill set. Four-year college is not going to be her reality. Any four-year college. What she did do, however, was she got through about 3 classes, she got a certification, and she's doing what she loves. She has independence to a certain measure. In her case, she will probably always live with my sister and her husband, and then they will make provision for her if the Lord takes them. So I think that that's kind of the reality. It's got to be individual and customized. If I could script something, and I can't. If I could script something, remember I talked about mentoring and apprenticeship? I would love to have each person have a customized learning experience that's a plan that aligns with their purpose, their passions, and their gifts. And that would be both for people on the spectrum and not, because I hate warehouse education, assembly line education. I hate the checkbox, boom, got a degree, and it means nothing. I want those kids who walk across the
I agree with
platform
that.
and say they're going to get a fake diploma from us because they have to pay their bill. But when they get that diploma, I want them to say, man, I was made for what I know. That the young lady who came out of Michigan State, who I'm sure is bright as can be, that knows nothing about nonprofits, my heart is sad. How do you get a degree in nonprofit leadership and know nothing about nonprofit leadership, about the actual doing?
Yeah.
So 95% of Jessup degrees require internship. That's been, to be frank, me saying, I'm not having a business graduate go like, I don't have a clue. No.
Yeah.
You graduate from business, you better spend some time in business. And by the way, you may find out I hate business. So change your major, have a crisis, but do what you love and have it be customized to you.
I have a dear friend who was here
Yeah.
before you were here at 16
Yep.
and was a business major. And after, I think it was either one semester or 1 year, I think it was one semester, left.
Yeah.
And he was in our college group. And I think about 6 months later, opened a local coffee shop that exploded in the
Blew up,
entire
yeah.
area. And now he just got invited to this exclusive meeting with all only founders in Mexico City where they talk about that
Yeah.
because he started and launched several multi-million
Wow.
companies. And I'm like, it's just to your point of like, not
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Yes.
He got here and said, it's nothing against the school.
No.
I'm ready to go to something else.
I'm going to tell you one more. Can I-
Even that was maybe valuable, finding out that it
Yeah,
wasn't for
it
him.
wasn't him.
That's
yeah.
the point, yeah.
Okay.
That's what you're saying.
Should I mention somebody's name or not mention
That
their
doesn't
name?
matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
As long as they're okay with it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
okay. Well, I think I mentioned his name. So Kyle Johnston.
Yeah.
You know the
Love
family.
him.
Great,
Yeah.
great
Just
young
because
man.
he came to my house 2
yeah.
days ago.
Yeah, okay. Oh, really? Okay, so that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
plays well in my house.
Okay, so Kyle Johnston, amazing guy. When I first came here, I was here like 6 months, and I was listening in a hallway conversation, and some people here at Jessup were bragging about the fact that Kyle graduated and what a great kid, and we did such a great job. And I said, whoa. To go back to your comment about your son. I said, excuse me, I happen to know the family. I happen to know the church. I happen to know some influences in that young man's life. He's awesome. And yes, we contributed. But the truth is, your son's success in life will be because of Jesus. It'll be because of you and your wife, his dad and mom. It'll be the surroundings. It'll be the tools you put in his hand. It'll be what he decides to do. It's all of that. Like Jessup, it's awesome. I think God's building a good greenhouse here, but we're a small part of the overall miracle story in our greatest successes, and by the way, in our horrible failures, because we sometimes have kids who just flame out here at Jessup, and we go like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Well, it's just like a parent, like, did you make mistakes? Sure. Do you have gaps? Yep. But at the end of the day, we all have to accept responsibility for our futures and our decisions.
I graduated just before I turned 30,
Yeah.
and I sat in the front row. My wife swears to this day that I got a couple higher grades in certain classes because the teacher liked me because we were friends.
Of course.
We hung out after.
Yeah,
let alone
yeah.
not just- you know what I mean? Like I have,
Yes,
a picture,
I do.
I have a picture of me and these two Asian gal friends of
Yeah,
mine
yeah.
that we were top grades in astronomy class.
Yeah, that's
And I'm
awesome,
like,
Robbie.
I mean, I memorized some of the stars, but Dr. Dunn, who got his master's degree in the rings of Saturn,
Yeah.
there's a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
man.
Dude, yeah.
It's one of the things that I tell students going into college. I say, here's the thing. Anytime I had a new professor, first test, after I got it back, I would be in their office disputing all the answers. And the reason why is two things. I thought, I don't want, when they see my name,
Yeah.
I want them to know who I am.
Yes.
And I'd be a little bit antagonistic, but professors like that.
They
a
do.
little bit.
A little pushback.
Because the sense was, I want them to think about me, that this is somebody who cares about this, number one. And also, if it was a wobbler, I didn't want them to mark me off.
So who taught you that? That's super, super smart. Who taught
I
you
was
that?
born that way. See, I almost went to law school.
You should. Maybe you should have. That's great.
So,
What a great tactic.
So maybe last question before we
Yeah,
run
yeah.
out of space on hard drives. What would be the one thing, this is everything about
Yeah.
higher education is wrong. So what's the one thing that you would say, the one thing I wish people knew that they don't know, whether they're considering, going to college or they're thinking about their kids or their grandkids or something. What's that one big piece that you go, I don't think enough people know this and they gotta know it?
If I could say one thing, it's this. It is not what you learn, it's how you learn it. And if you compartmentalize education and life, you're making a grave mistake. Don't take an education degree, a Bible degree, a business degree, a psychology degree, and then go, and I'll do real life after I finish that. Even if you have to go slower in your college degree, make sure that your business, education, psychology, Bible, leadership, whatever, has real world experience connected. I'm absolutely convinced when we compartmentalize education like brain, open the cavity, put in facts, and then real life into something else, we never learn how to connect learning and life. Learning and life are always connected. I actually am super opposed to the 4-year college bubble. I just think it's a mistake. I think it's a terrible mistake. Now, I get it developmentally, by the way. parents want our kids to go, like, oh, honey, have a great, they do the climbing wall and do the football games and the yaya, and there's a certain part of that's okay. But like, I worry about church. A lot of kids who go to Christian colleges disconnect from church. Total mistake spiritually. I'd rather Christian colleges never have chapel if what that meant is that kids were going to keep, because church is the rest of your life, hopefully. Yeah. Life is the rest of your life. This 4-year college bubble is a mistake. How you learn it. Connect life and learning all the way through college.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. Hey, if people want to connect with William Jessup, how do they do that?
Yeah, go to our website, Jessup, JESSUP.edu, jessup.edu. You can also go to drjohnjackson.com. I got tons of articles there. And I did write one small book for choosing a college. It's called The Right Choice, Choosing a College and Why It Matters. Sometimes people go to a public school, private school, faith-based school. There's reasons for all of those. And it's a little tiny book. It might help you on that.
Is that on Amazon?
It's on Amazon,
awesome.
Available on Amazon.
Awesome.
And you go to my website and get a link there.
I'm going to get that because my kids are that
okay.
age now. Yeah. So, and Robbie's kids are coming
up.
He's their professor.
Yeah.
So far,
hey,
let him in.
Dr. Jackson, thank you so much. I think this has been great. I mean, it's been really interesting to me. And so we just want to say thanks so much.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, Dr. John, here's my favorite part of this interview, is when I go, okay, we have another question. It's a hard one. And he says, oh, like every question before this was easy.
Yeah, no, he did great. I enjoyed, I feel like I should have asked for like a, one of those doctorates they give out. What do you call it? Honorary. Yeah. I should have asked. I feel like I got educated. Did he really? Louis Zamperini got one. World War II.
Yeah, so, but super cool conversation with Dr. Jackson, and what they're doing there is like pretty amazing, actually. I mean, if somebody wanted to, I'm trying to talk my daughter into going to school there. It's really cool. Which
is cool. And, a good opportunity to interview him. And I thought he was just like we knew going in, but it was just like smooth, calm, answered it directly, didn't stray from it, didn't try to get around it, just really hit things. And I was really, I felt like I was excited to just hear how he's in tune with everything that's going on, and he's just navigating their way as a university and an organization, and him being, I'm excited to see what happens. Obviously, we live in this area, so we'll get to watch and see, and even hopefully more so for you in the future.
Yeah,
with Dakota going there.
Yeah, super cool, and man, that's a really smart discussion, and really makes you think a lot about where things are going in higher education, and if people aren't attuned to some of the Mike Rowe stuff, it's like, hey, listen. You can go to school and end up making $60,000 a year, chained to a cubicle the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Or you can go to trade school or on the job training and make $160,000 a year as a welder.
Yep.
And for some people say, I don't want to be a welder. For some people they say, I would never want to be locked into a cubicle. Getting the gut.
For sure.
And my eyes slowly burning out. So
yeah. I mean, but yet millions and millions, 9 to 5 every single day, but learning even just ways that things are being thought about to change that for people, and even the adults that are able to go back in some of these programs they have. I even was in one for a while. So it was cool. Good talking to him. I want to talk to him again.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely have him back. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Really, really do. Tune in next week. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. And if you want to find out more about what we're up to, ureach.global for trips, studentreach.org for what we're doing in schools, our coaching programs.
And we're partnering with William Jessup, so that's going to be cool to see in the future. So be on the lookout for that, because you're going to be able to hear about that and see that. And who knows, we might even interview some more people at William Jessup to talk about the further connection there in the relationship.
Yeah, super cool stuff.
Yep. Hey, everything you know is wrong.
That's right.
We will talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to Everything You Know Is Wrong. Don't forget to rate the show in your favorite podcast app and tell a friend. It really does help. Visit our sponsors, studentreach.org, ureach.global. Follow us on Instagram at everythingyouknowiswrong.show. Click the links. You can support us there too. And at patreon.com/everythingyouknowiswrong. You can be more awesome than you already are.